In this video, we're going to look at the question 9 from the 2022 Further Maths GCSE Paper 1. So we've been given a quadratic sequence of -2, -1, 4 and 13. And it's asked us to find the nth term. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the difference between the values. So we've got a difference of 1 here, difference of 5, and difference of 9. And we notice that they don't go up by a constant value. So we're going to have to look at our second difference, 4, 4. Now what we do with that number is we're going to half it and put it in front of our n squared. So that's our first part of our answer. So what we're going to do is get our 2n squared and write out that sequence. So if I just write my initial one again. So 1 squared is 1 times by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4 times by 2 is 8. 3 squared is 9 times 2 is 18. And 4 squared is 16 times 2 is 32. And I'm going to do a subtraction. So -2 take away 2 is -4, -9, -14, and -19. Now we're going to work out the nth term of this sequence. So we're going down in 5s. And if we kind of do the 0th term of this sequence by adding 5 for this one, we're going to get 1. So this bit we're going to add on to what we found for our n squared term. So we're going to have 2n squared take away 5n plus 1. Now this also has a part B to it. So a different quadratic sequence has the nth term m squared plus 10n. Use algebraic method to work out how many terms in the sequence are less than 2000. And it specifically says don't use trial and improvement. So we want to know when this here is less than 2000. So we're going to have to solve this inequality. So we've got n squared plus 10n is less than 2000. I'm going to get it all onto the left-hand side to take away 2000 from both sides. Now I'm going to treat this like a quadratic equation. So I'm going to ignore the inequality sign for the minute and just solve it like it's a quadratic equation. So I'm going to factorize, and I'm looking for things that multiply together to give me 2000, but add together to give me 10. So multiply together would give me 20 would be 4 and 5. So we could have 40 and 50. But one of them has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. We want a positive 10n. So the 50 is going to be positive, the negative is going to be the 40. And this works out for us. So we can factorize that. As I say, we're just going to treat it like a equation for the moment. So n equals positive 40 or negative 50. Now, n can't be a negative because it's a term in the sequence and our terms have to be positive integers. So we know that this 40 is the bit we're going to be interested in. So if we just sketch this out for a second, we know the graph crosses at -50 and the graph also crosses at positive 40. Now this is a positive quadratic graph. So it's going to look something like this. Now we want to know where this is less than 0. We're using this line here. So where is this graph less than 0? Well, it's less than 0 in this bit. So if we take it now back to our inequalities, n has to be this side of 40. So n has to be less than 40. So it is asking you actually, for a term in the sequence. So we can't have 39.5 or 39.7. We have to have an integer for n. So n is going to be 39. That's the biggest thing before we get to 40. And we know that it has to be less than 40.